All right, how can you improve your strategy as it pertains to your digital marketing and social media marketing? There's not one answer to the question, but I'll focus on one area in particular that I think people really drop the ball on. And I think mainly is because they enter the arena uneducated and don't really know what they're truly trying to accomplish. But one thing that I see most people do is when they do generate the content to then be able to put out a marketing campaign on the social media, is they just put out one ad, they do one target demographic, and they have one budget. And that's fine in some instances. I'm not saying that's a bad practice. But what I am saying is if you have more than one demographic that you're targeting, once again, they should not get the same content. There are little idiosyncrasies that you can change in an advertisement that's going to make it relate to a 25-year-old male or a 42-year-old woman or a 65-year-old woman. And when you're putting out advertisements, you need to be dynamic with them. And when you look at how they're being returned to your website, you need to be dynamic with your lead pages. The fact of the matter is different aesthetics resonate with different people. And that's the beauty of marketing on Facebook, is it really gives you real control over your demographic and who you target, and it gives you real control of really keeping up on your ads and being able to adjust them down the road and figure out really what is your customer acquisition costs. You know, I think if you diversify your ads, you really are going to kill two birds with one stone. You're going to be advertising, which is great, you got to do that. But what you're also going to be doing is you're really going to be figuring out who your demographic is. And until you get the data, you can't really say that for certain. You could say that you think you know who your customer base is, and you think you know who you're targeting, but the data doesn't lie. And maybe by putting out those different ads, and then weekly or daily even, really looking at the impressions it gets and who's interacting with it, maybe you find out that your customer is not a 25-year-old male. Maybe they are a 42-year-old female. So you should never assume. You should really, spread your fingers out and keep it broad so that when you can bring in data, you can now drill down on one demographic, and you're not sending out one ad at that point just to put out one ad. You're putting out that one ad because you know for certain that based on the data, that's who your customer is, and that's who's clicking on your ad, that's who you're converting to your website, that's whose information you're collecting, and that's who you're reaching out to try to essentially monetize in the end. So don't look at it so benign. It's not black and white. You need to figure things out before you drill down on one demographic, and there are ways to do it. So if you have any questions, hit the button below the video. And if you have any wants or needs for digital advertising, let us know.